U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has made his first cabinet appointment after his decisive election win. Trump named Susie Wiles as his chief of staff, making her the first woman to hold the office. Wiles was one of his campaign managers and is credited with bringing discipline and stability to his campaign. Trump said she helped him achieve what he called one of the greatest political victories in American history. Speak now to William Glucroft, U.S. politics analyst. Good to see you again, Will. Now, Trump's first appointment, what do you make of him picking Susie Wiles as his chief of staff?
Well, first of all, I have to keep reminding myself that this is the first female chief of staff. It kind of blows my mind that there hasn't been a single woman serving in this important role ever, which I think speaks volumes as to where the United States is politically and socially. But by all accounts, she is exactly what you want in a chief of staff. She is hard-nosed. She keeps people in line. She whips people into shape. And when things go awry or go off the rails, as Donald Trump is well known for, his so-called weave that he likes to credit himself with, she's there, like any good chief of staff, to keep things on track and to sort of massage the message or get people back in line. Foremost, that chief of staff's boss, the president. That is a chief of staff job, to get the policies through that the president wants. And if she is as an effective chief of staff as she clearly has been in this campaign, she's going to be able to do that very well. But of course, how one runs themselves in a campaign, it can be very different than how one governs and how one's ability to handle those sort of levers of power. So we shall see. But if you are a fan of Donald Trump and a fan of this kind of style, then it's at least good news from that perspective.
Let's take a closer look at some of the policy proposals that Trump brought forward in the campaign. Many people are concerned that women's reproductive rights will be curtailed even further under a new Trump presidency. What is at stake here?
A lot is at stake, but I think it's first important to preface or caveat all of this with we really never know what Donald Trump wants. He's unpredictable. He can think one thing one day and change his mind the next day. He can be very impulsive. We've seen quite good sourcing and stories from people very close to Donald Trump, especially in his previous term, that he can make decisions on the fly, snap judgments, not really taking the advice of other people, really just doing what he thinks is right. So anything he may have said on the campaign trail could be true, might also not be true. We just don't know. And we won't know day to day. That is what makes Donald Trump potentially so dangerous, that it's just so it's not that it's good or bad. It's just that it's unpredictable. That said, obviously reproductive rights, health access, especially for women, the United States has not needed Donald Trump to make this very difficult. This has been a problem for a very, very long time. Donald Trump is sort of the culmination, and the end of Roe v. Wade is kind of the culmination of a lot of anti-women, anti-health, anti-bodily choice, anti-freedom kind of policies that conservatives have been working towards for 40 years. And they've kind of reached this point. So, but at that same point, it's important to note that what's happened now is exactly what Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have said they wanted, which is this question goes back to the states. And many states are preserving some kind of abortion rights, including conservative ones that have voted for Donald Trump. So it's not a one-to-one. And it's going to be a very precarious and unfortunately interesting from a political perspective point to watch, but something that can be very, very dangerous and very, very risky for many women in many places.
During his victory speech, he said promises made will be promises kept. You just explained why we have to take all of this with a grain of salt. He has promised, though, to deport 11 million migrants. Is that a realistic possibility legally, logistically, now that he is on his way back to the White House?
Most likely not. In many ways, despite his rhetoric and his unpredictability, Donald Trump is a very traditional president, a very traditional candidate, making lots of promises, not really able to deliver on a lot of them. Deportation and hardening the border and border security, these are also not new or unique to Donald Trump. We've heard this from many presidents going back many, many election cycles. The fact is the United States runs on migrant labor, both legal and illegal. There's been a lot of good reporting over many years to show that if somehow all of the illegal immigrants disappeared tomorrow, the United States economy would stop. So there's that to think about economically. And for someone who wants to appoint Elon Musk to make the government more efficient, it would take quite a huge federal government undertaking to find these 11 million people, wherever they may be, and actually process them and get them out of the country. So kind of hard to do that when you're also saying you're going to cut government and make it so-called more efficient.
That was William Glucroft, U.S. politics analyst. Thank you so much. Always great to get your view of things. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nicole.